Yes, hello everyone. It's me, Gary, here at Panto Archive, back with another cuppa chat. And I can't wait to introduce you to today's special guest. So, special guest, introduce yourself.
Oh, all right, folks. I'm Joe Meloy, comedian and pantomime Dane.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Plodding along. We've come out of peak season now, and we're on the road to Panto now. And as soon as it is September, I feel like that's we're getting there. I mean, I've got my Halloween show first,
Yes.
but it always feels like September is very much like right. Okay, we're gearing up to Panto now. We'll soon get the script through in an email, and we'll start writing down which costumes are going where and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exciting stuff. And we'll catch up with your other non-Christmassy shows in a little while. But first, very rude of me to not ask you. Like, I can see you already having a drink. So what am I getting you drink-wise today? I've decided, especially for you, I hope I had a guess that you're a Crash Bandicoot fan because I've gone with the old Aku Aku mask.
You know what? I do remember playing it on the PlayStation 1 when I was younger. Slightly showing my age there. I've very boringly gone with water at the moment. Um, just because, well, it was the quickest thing to grab.
Yeah, well, fair enough. And for the first time ever, people will be shocked when they hear this because I normally just go water or squash. I've gone for hot chocolate because it's cold today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it does feel autumnal today, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That's,
definitely.
that's why it feels like it's gearing towards Panto because the weather's turning, and we're getting rid of. We've got Panto launch in a couple of weeks as well, as I'm
Yeah.
sure you do as well. Actually, I think.
Yeah, we for anyone who has no idea, it must be quite strange for you as well to see where is it? This photo here, because I feel like you
Yes.
are the what do they call it? The other universe. We sort of swap and change, don't we? Because
Yeah,
you're the
because you're
Dane that
over at yeah. Yeah, you're over at Wellingborough and I'm over, and then they just swap the shows over, don't they? So yeah, that
yeah.
that costume there, I remember wearing that for Peter Pan, because they supplied a few costumes for Peter Pan, which was lovely. But this year, I'm supplying all my own costumes.
Oh,
Uh,
wonderful.
so it's the first year I'll be supplying all of my own costumes. So I've always done like sort of half and half, but
Hmm.
this year I'm supplying absolutely all of them. So which is which
Yeah,
is lovely.
it was very strange seeing you because then, as you say, we swapped and we took
Yeah,
your Peter Pan on, and you did what we'd done the year before, which was Cinderella,
yeah.
and I was like, "There's someone in my costume. What is going on with Adam,
I even
obviously?"
got my
And
sister as well.
yeah, exactly. This is it. You got my sister. I hope you looked after her.
Oh yeah, she was. He was wonderful to work with. He was so great. He's back this year as associate director as well, isn't he, Adam?
Yeah,
So yeah, he was wonderful to work with.
yeah. I'm trying to get Adam on here, so we'll see. We'll say that for another time. But enough about Adam today. Let's talk about
Yeah.
you, Joe, and see how things are going. What did you get up to over the summer to start with? What are the plans for Christmas this year?
So summer is very much like, so I'm a comedian around the holiday parks, and I've got two shows. I've got my one-person pantomime Dame show, and I've got my comedy show, the Joe Show. So I was very much doing them over the summer, going everywhere from the top of Scotland to the middle of Wales, down to the Isle of Wight, just touring that show around the country. I think I've probably clocked about 15,000 miles this summer.
Oh wow.
So it's been busy, which is good, which is good. But then it sort of all slows down for September, October. I've still got gigs, but not as many as in July and August. And like I said at the start, like now it's gearing up towards my pantomime Dame Halloween show, Dame Dolly's Spectacular Pirate Party, which should be great fun. Tickets are available now. So yeah, it's that's what I'm up to at the moment. It's really as soon as September kicks in, it's like right, okay, just getting the last things for that show, tweaking a few little bits for it because by the time sort of like the last Halloween last year October, I'd already had the concept for the new show before I'd even started last year's Dame Dolly's Spectacular show. So I tend to do the same show for 2 years, then I change it.
Mm.
So the good thing is next year should be a bit of an easier sell because it'll be the same show again.
Yeah, and I mean it's exciting because we've spoken a few times on Cuppa Chats that Panto isn't just Christmas anymore. You get
No, not at
Easter,
all.
you get summer, you get Halloween now, anytime really, any excuse. How does it link in with the Halloween spooky side of it? Because anyone who's maybe lives on a different planet as such will go, well, Halloween is all about being scary. How can a dame be scary as such?
Well, I always say it's like so. My shows, it's predominantly it's a family and kids show. I'd never describe my show as scary. Obviously, there's elements of Halloween in there. Like, there's always a fancy dress part of the show, like because a lot of the kids come in fancy dresses. Someone gets a prize for that. It's very, very interactive. As are all my Dame shows. They're very, very interactive. They get the kids up. So the whole theme of this year's show is basically Dame Dolly's sort of like Panto land has been taken over by these horrible pirates, and she's come here to get a crew of pirates so she can take on the evil Blackbeard. So she's got to train all the kids up to become pirates, and that's the theme of sort of like the whole show. So not necessarily too scary, but definitely Halloween themed. Whereas last year was a bit more generic Halloween themed. It was just the Spooktacular show. Whereas this year it's gone pirate themed.
Piratey, yeah, we love pirates.
Oh,
And
really?
are you on your own in the show, Joe, or have you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
someone else? Yeah, so
No,
how
just
does
me.
talk to us how that works from, I know we all have our opening spots and so on in Panto
Oh,
for
yeah.
Dame, but how does that work doing a whole show for maybe someone who's never seen one before on your
Yeah,
own?
so I'll explain the show that I do around the holiday parks because that's honestly the easiest one to explain. So it's Dame Dolly's one person panto. Before that, it was called Dame Dolly Does, but I changed the name up because it now says what it does on the tin. So Dame Dolly's one person panto. Essentially, Dame Dolly's turned up to do a show, but none of her friends have turned up to help her out. So all the kids have got to join in and become the actors and actresses in the show. And take on the role of like whoever they're doing. So at the moment, I'm doing Robinson Crusoe around the country. So basically, I have different kids up at points to play Robinson Crusoe throughout the show, and then they all get to be certain things. There's a point where like Mermaid Friday, you can see what I've done there. Mermaid Friday appears through the sea, so they've all got a drum on their tables and drum on the floor for the waves crashing. So they've very much got to basically be the show with Dame Dolly, but they have to do Dame Dolly's audition first to get in the show. Obviously, they always pass the audition. There's never been a time where I've gone, no, you've not passed. I'm afraid.
No,
Now
we
go
don't
home.
want you, little girl there in the red dress. You're useless, darling.
No, no, not you. You're gone. So yes, that's the whole show basically. It's Dame Dolly's cast haven't turned up, so the kids and some unsuspecting grown-ups have got to help her out. But there's traditional things like there's a song sheet in it, so obviously Dame Dolly needs to check that they can sing. It is very much it's as traditional as you can get as a panto with one person running the show.
And that's really interesting because we always see pantos, especially in house ones, that have got full casts, have got fantastic dancers with them. But you can have the same fun, can't you? Just with
Oh
one
yeah,
character.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because I did it. It started off really, really simple. So when I first did it, I had like no microphones. I had like literally me, a dress, and a couple of roller banners. And it had like an arts and crafts section. It had no sound cues in it, no lighting cues, literally full up go. And now it's gone and it's sort of evolved and it goes on the holiday park. So it opens with a song. Funny enough, the Robinson Crusoe one is. Do you remember the clang 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 from the galley?
Oh
That's my
yes, we
opening
know
number
it.
for Robinson Crusoe. Yeah, because I bought it off Tom Self. So you may recognise that number because we've both done that one in Peter Pan. But I was like, well, it's pirate theme, so it works.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of which, I will go on a little tangent just for a second. That
Yeah, go
song,
for it.
we saw some clips, obviously, to give us references of you the year
Yeah.
before. Now, I believe that you taught the audience the song as well. We didn't do that in our version, which I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I like this, but also grateful not having to teach that song to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we did. It was oh, Lorna did teach me, but it's been a couple of years. So
Yes.
yeah, clang clang, okay, ding 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 from the bell. Yeah, so we got all the audience to get their arms up in the air and do it. But fun enough, when I do it on the holiday parks, I don't teach them dance because I've got a handheld microphone.
Yeah.
So I can't really do too much with my hand. So it really is just an opening number. But yeah, we did. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we did. We did teach the audience how to do it, and they all joined in,
Yeah,
which was great
fantastic.
fun. But it's a lovely opening number for it too.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed starting it because it gave us a big push straight away,
Oh yeah.
getting with that one. Within your one man shows, is there dance numbers that, because I know, look, I taught from dame to dame here. We know how much we love the dance numbers. Do you put
Oh,
them in your own show?
so there. I mean, there's movement. I move. Last year when I was doing Jack and the Beanstalk, we had Baby Shark in, and that's about as much music. This year we've got over the rolling sea, so we're going this way, that way, forwards, backwards. So very, very simple steps because the kids have got to do it as well,
Yeah.
because that's when Dame Dolly's like, oh, I need a crew. We need to learn how to steer a ship. So that song really suits it. But yeah, there's not complex choreography. I mean, I always make a joke usually at the Hazlitt. I think every Panto there'll be a moment where there's this massive dance break, and I always make a joke and go, I don't do choreography, so I'm going to go over here, and I just stand at the side and clap. But there was in Peter Pan, I think I had 20 seconds of choreography, and Lorna, our lovely choreographer, as you know, she said, "Oh, Joe, it doesn't matter if you don't get this bit right." And I went, "Lorna, I've got 20 seconds of choreography in the whole show. I have to get this bit right. I can't have the only bit of dance I'm doing go wrong." And it did go right after the dance captain taught me it again as well a few times. And I was like, "What was that bit again?" But he was lovely as well. Actually, he really took the time to sort of like go through it with me because it was a can, but it was lots of different kicks. You know, for a dancer, it would have been absolutely fine, but you know, I always say to people, I'll give you a grapevine, I'll give you a step dig.
Yeah, it is true, and it is a good point to bring up actually that the dance captains and the choreographers, especially maybe comics and dames that
Yeah.
are maybe not as confident, let's say, with dancing. We all think we can do it, but maybe we're not as confident or as good.
Yeah.
They're always very good, aren't they, at supporting us and
Oh
teaching
yeah,
us?
absolutely. I mean, and we're doing it in heels as well.
Yes.
So, you know, we're not massive. Like, I'm not a confident dancer. I'll be perfectly honest. You know, look, do the simple moves like absolutely fine. But I always joke because I come from the holiday parks, so like I'm usually the only person in the whole cast who hasn't gone to drama school. So I always make the joke going, "You all did 3 years in drama school, and I was doing 3 years doing the Agadoo." So you know, I can give them a mean Agadoo. And in fact, during the during rehearsals or at some point before a show when they're doing the warm up, the Agadoo will come on, and I will treat everyone to a performance of Agadoo. Or sometimes it happens at an after show party. You know, Agadoo comes on, and I've got to get up and do the Agadoo. You know, show
Yeah.
them how it's done.
Yeah, show them how it's done properly. Yeah, yeah. Now we have lots of people that watch the Cuppa Chats who have never done Panto before, but they just have a love for it. Can you talk us through the setup of let's go Christmas for just the time being, a setup of a day for a pantomime day? Because I feel, I don't know about you, Joe, that we get there about 10 hours before anyone else. Um,
Yeah, and never see anyone until we get on stage because we mate Stu, who's in Hazlitt Panto again. He's fantastic. He's playing a cat this year. He says, "I forget what your face looks like during the run because we don't see you until like you're on stage, like, and I've seen you with makeup on for like 6 weeks. So when I see you when we're having like a day off, like we're doing, you know, the bowling or a party or something, it's like it's very strange to see you without your makeup on."
Yeah, it is true. It is true. You do,
Yeah.
I think people forget that it's me, as such. It's a
Yeah.
real person under here. So what do you what do you have any suspicions or any sort of routines that you do? Do you get in your makeup first? What do you do? Tell us your idea.
So the only thing I am, it's not necessarily superstition, but I suppose it is a little bit. So I've been in the same dressing room every time I've been at the Hazlitt, and every year I say, "Can I just have that same dressing room, please?" Because I'd feel really weird if it wasn't in that one. And also, it's got the best shower as well, so I really want it because I have to shower after every show. But yeah, going back to questions, because I sort of went off at a tangent. Apologies. So yeah, my day at Panto, how it starts for a dame is so rehearsals are very much like their rehearsals, come as you are. But on a show day, so if we've got a show at 11, I'm probably there at about 5 to 10, 10 o'clock to be ready to start putting my makeup on at 10. Because I always say to people, I can do my makeup and get ready in 20 minutes if I need to. I like to have a full hour where I know what I'm doing. I can sit down, I can make it look a lot better in an hour as well.
Mm.
And also it's really relaxing as well. And I feel ready for the show. So, I've normally got a telly in my dressing room because I bring a telly with me. I stick something on, usually The Office from the US or something like that, just on in the background. And then I just do my makeup. And I like that every dame's makeup seems to be so different as well. Because I do my makeup with UV pens. I draw my eyes on, like I color in my eyes.
Oh, really?
Pen,
Interesting.
yeah. And so when the lights hit them, like they're UV as well.
Mm.
So yeah, the only thing I've always had the same makeup now for. I think I started to perfect it probably in about 2018, and it's now looked the same ever since. And I always think every dame's makeup is slightly different, but every dame you can usually tell them by their makeup.
Yeah.
But the one thing I always have is, and even when I was doing makeup when I very first started, when we first start, when we can't really do our makeup and it doesn't look very good, I've always had a beauty spot there. So I always have to have that beauty spot no matter what. So that's probably a slight superstition, I suppose. I've still got the original socks that I did Panto in. Not that they get used, but they usually come with me in my case at least, because they're just full of holes now. They're not really usable, but I have to bring them with me. So yeah, there's not too many superstitions there, I suppose. I'm trying to think if there's any others, but I think it's just I want the same dressing room just because it would throw me off if I didn't.
Yeah.
And I
And you
do
get
bring
in a
those.
routine, you know where your
Yeah,
dresses can be, you know where the quick change
yeah.
can happen, you know
Oh
that
yeah,
you've
absolutely.
got
Yeah,
time to run from A to B if you forget something, I
yeah.
understand that.
Oh yeah, because we're very blessed in the sense of my dressing room's obviously right near the stage because as Dame, like there's no point you being down the stairs and round the houses because you're going to have to change about 10 times.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm waiting to get the script this year. So I think the most changes I've ever done on the show is 12. So maybe we go for the record this year.
But say maybe we'll do 13 then, just
Yeah,
or at
you
least
know what?
14. We'll do
I'd have to
14
do
then.
14. I
Yeah.
couldn't end on a 13.
No, I'd be the same. I'm like, no, we need another costume change.
Be like, no, there needs to be, like we're either doing 12 or we're doing 14. Like
Yeah.
we're not doing that. Not that my best mate was born on 13th of September, but just I couldn't do it. I don't know why, just couldn't. I couldn't be on 13.
No.
I'd be like, it's got to be 14.
Yeah, I'd be the same. I'd be the same. I've started doing different coloured eyeshadow and for
Yeah.
each show. So at least I feel like at least people think I've turned up to a different photo shoot.
Oh, I do that as well because
Yeah,
I have different color UV pens, so I have a half and half. So I'll have like blue and green or pink and orange, really garish colors
yeah,
like yellow and green or whatever. So yeah, every show I always have slightly different eye color makeup. So the makeup's never 100% the same because the eyes are always slightly different. Though
yeah.
saying that, last year I don't know how you found it for being an ugly, but my makeup I kept the same, but I just made it much darker. So
Mm,
I went, my cheeks are normally a rosy red, sort of like with a nice little silvery sparkle. I made them purple, still with a silvery sparkle, so they were dark purple. But then my eyes, I did like, I still had UV pens, but I had a metallic green and metallic purple, so they were a lot darker. And my
mm,
eyelashes were always green as well. So, and my lips were purple. They were either purple or green
yeah,
because normally my lips are red. And I just thought, because I thought I can't have exactly the same makeup as an ugly because it needs to be darker because you're a baddie.
yeah,
So that's what I did last year. So it's still exactly the same design, just a darker color
yeah. No,
because I've done the same.
I did the same. I just went dark blue, dark purple,
Yeah,
and you're saying purple lipstick or something like that. It's interesting, isn't it? That
yeah.
just one different character, and again, it's because it's a baddie, but you can
Oh
still
yeah.
do the same thing, still your style of Dame,
Oh yeah.
but with a
But a
different
baddie. Yeah.
baddie. Yeah. We get this question asked a lot, Joe, and you hopefully will be able to answer it for us. When
Yeah.
you are in rehearsals, you've learnt everything, you're on stage, you're even doing the tech, starting dresses, sorting those costume bits out. Have you ever got to a part of the show where you're in a costume and you're just like, this isn't going to happen anymore. I can't do the routine, I can't do the set, I can't do the musical number in it. So you've had to change it, but then it's just caused a lot of grief.
It's not necessarily caused grief, but I remember one time, 2019, I was doing a panto for Tony Pierce, who recently passed away a couple of months ago, but God rest his soul. Lovely man. But I did a panto for him in 2019, and it wasn't a whole costume change, but basically I had this lovely dress on, but my wig was a great big cuckoo clock, but it was really, really heavy. And the number we were going into was if I were not up on the stage, which is very movement based.
Mm.
And the thing is with that, like I couldn't move my head sort of more than that. So I would walk off stage, someone would hand me a different wig. I'd swap the wigs over and then walk back on. So that's the only time where I've had to change a bit of costume to go, actually, this bit of costume isn't gonna work. So yeah, I thought I've got to change a wig. That's the only time I've ever had it where I'm like, right,
Yeah.
I've got to change out of this. But all the other times, but right now because I'm costuming myself, like the last few years, it's been sort of half and half, and this year it's other than the walk down dress because the walk down dress will be themed to that year.
Yeah.
And I don't want to buy a dress that's going to be used once every sort of like 10 years because it goes with
Mm.
the theme. So they're supplying the walk down dress, but I'm supplying all the rest. So this year there shouldn't be too much of an issue of that because I'll be picking it all myself. And I have the great big foam wigs as well, and
Yeah.
they're so much easier and so durable. Um, so yeah, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue this year. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever had to change a bit of costume was 2019.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. You do get used to it. People always
Oh yeah,
go, "Oh my goodness, look at that! How have you coped with that?" I think it's just a part of the game, isn't it? You just get used to it, really. Um,
yeah.
I love to know as well. What look at this microphone; it's just going in and out of shot all the time. There we go. I'll come over here for a minute. Um, I like to also know what people look for when they first get that script in an email or a paper copy sent to you. Not so much nowadays; it's all digital. But
Yeah.
what's the first thing you look for? Is it the songs? Is it what gags you got? What set piece you've got this year? What is it you look for?
Um, I do look to see what the jokes are before, because obviously, as you know, like we add jokes in as we go through rehearsals, and then during the show, something will work really well with an audience, and it will go into the show. So I I look for the basic skeleton of like I always read a script, and I've touch wood not yet come across a script where I haven't had at least a giggle where I've read it. So I'm like, if I've laughed at something I've read in the script, it's going to be a good script. So that's what I look
Mm.
for. I look for something that makes me laugh. There's like a silly line in there or something like that, or a good gag. Um, so I always very much read it and so. But to be fair, like as you know, like because with the same company, they're very fast and loose with the script. If we want to change something or anything like that, they're very good with saying, "Oh, if you think that's going to work better, try it," and then. So like I always say with the Dame's opening speech, because the first thing I ask a company when I audition for them, do you like a Dame that goes off script? Because some people like it's the script, that's it, and that's how they work, and
Yeah.
that's absolutely fine. But I very much go off at a tangent sometimes, not to the point of ruining the show, and I'll always bring it back on and give people their cue lines and all that. But I always say the Dame's opening speech when I look at it, I like to have the solid opening speech there, learn it. Because there's some shows where you just need to do the speech, like school shows, you'll just need to do the speech because there's
Mm.
not too much more you can do because you've got all kids. Um, Whereas sometimes I like to be able to go off at a complete tangent, and that opening speech will change ever so slightly. But I like to have it there to come back to get myself back on track.
Yeah.
And also the people at the side with the script going, where on earth is he in this script? I like to bring it back on for them as well. But I always say at the start of every year, I usually say to like the people who are doing like the sound cues and stuff like that, I say if I go off at a tangent, I'll always bring it back to the script. There'll be a bit where you go, oh yeah, I recognise that bit. Right, he's there now.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think you have comic and Dame, obviously, the
Yeah.
ones that can have that freedom. And the
Oh yeah.
audiences like it, don't they? You can, as you say, you
Oh,
can
of
make it
course.
special, especially like Christmas Eve shows or Boxing Days, you can
Yeah.
have special moments with the audience.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's some moments that you have with the audience where that audience they're going to be the only ones to see it because it's the only time that will happen. I remember one time I had a fireman, and obviously the jokes I was making about him were so much different than I could have made about any other bloke. Um, and that's what does make it special because yes, you are getting the same show, but you're not necessarily getting the same gags every single time. Like every
Mm.
single show will be just a tiny bit different. Because things will happen like. I'm trying to think of things that are, there'll be certain things where there'll be one show where something will just go completely wrong.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember actually it was one of the most manly moments I ever had. And I was stood in a dress, and I thought this is the manliest thing I've ever done. And I'm stood in a heels and dress. So basically, we had it was in Peter Pan, and it was the press night, and we had the rocks on wheels. The ones that the mermaids were on. But basically, I was doing. We had Tiger up on the rocks, and the set moved, and she fell, and I caught her like that. I caught this dance like that. This
Oh
is the
my
manliest
goodness.
thing I've ever done. And I'm stood her in a dress. But it got a good laugh from the audience anyway. And she was absolutely fine, and it was through no fault of anyone else's. It just was opening night. We weren't quite used to all the set yet. She fell off
Mm.
of it. But it got a laugh, so and she wasn't hurt, so it was worth it. Then again, sometimes when you get hurt, it gets a laugh. There was Peter Pan, like horrendous. I So there was a point where I can't remember why, but David was a comic and Stuart as a second comic would drag me backwards by my ankles. And there was one show where I was dragged back my ankles, and I managed to clip myself in a rather tender place on the stage. And it really, really hurt. It got a very good laugh, but I was literally like on Captain Hook like that. And as I went, I went off into the wings. I just went down to my knees because I've been hitting her. And the funniest thing was afterwards, Stu went, I knew you was really hurt then because you went into your normal voice. But I say to you, it was almost worth it for the laugh, but it's not something I'm going to repeat again. But again, that audience found it hysterical. I well, I was finding it sort of half funny and half sort of wheezing at the same time. So
Yeah, yeah, and how a lot of this energy comes from the chosen man that
oh yes,
happens in it. How did you find, if it was the same last year, that as the dame you didn't really get to choose the man last year? It was at least in our version of Cinderella, you had
yeah,
it sort of chosen for you.
yeah.
How did
No,
that work for
we
you?
well, to be fair, I had it chosen for me I think I had it chosen for me in Peter Pan as well. I think, but because we had David who had done a few of his comic, he was quite good at picking a decent bloke. He'd usually pick someone who wasn't a dud. There's always a couple of times where there was someone who just really really didn't want to be there. But to them, I say, why you sat on the front row of Panto?
Mm.
Um, so it was all right actually, because we had someone who was experienced picking them. We'd never had too much of a problem. But there'd be some times where we'd come backstage and David he'd go, sorry about whatever their name is. If they were bad, he was like, sorry about that. They were the best of a bad bunch. But hopefully this year I get to pick the man, which will be nice. So yes, but the thing is as well, if there has been a bad man picked, you've got that scope to go. We can change this up here.
Yeah,
We can change it on the fly. Because the thing is, if I look at them and go, they really, really are uncomfortable and they're really hating it, I will swap over because you want them to have a good time. I'm
yeah.
not there to embarrass that person. I'm
Mm.
not there to make them feel horrible or belittle them. It's all very tongue in cheek. But if I look at them and go, they're really not enjoying this, I will swap over. I think I've maybe done that once or twice in the entire time I've been the Dane. Because normally
Yeah,
when they're sat on the front row, they know what they've put
yeah.
themselves in for,
They're up for it.
and they're normally all right for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just think we're there to laugh with them, not at them. They can laugh at me all they want. That's what I'm there for. But you want to make sure they're part of the joke rather than the joke, I suppose.
We're getting into the realm of the men always wanting to come and kiss the dame now in Wellingborough. This is a new thing
Hmm.
that they end up on stage giving me a kiss. I don't know
Yeah,
where this
yeah.
has come from. This is just this is what's happened in Wellingborough. This is so if you come and join us in Wellingborough, you might get a kiss from yours truly if you really want it.
Oh,
But
promises, promises. No, they don't. They don't tend to kiss us at the Hazlitt, which is right, which is probably for the best. But I did get kissed by one bloke because I got down right to their level and he did grab me and give me a kiss. But I mean, the thing is, I'm just thinking you're doing my job for me here because
yeah,
we're getting a great laugh and I've not done anything,
no.
But yeah, no, we've not got quite. Yes, put my teeth back in. We've not quite got that phenomenon yet at the Hazlitt. So
Well, I'll have a word with the creatives and say Joe is desperate for kisses added into the show this year. Now, Joe, let's move on to we've got a new little feature on our Cuppa Chats this year, which is a
all
this
right,
or that little game.
oh lovely,
And we want you to choose your this or that's really. And you can give us a straight answer, then you can give a little explanation if you want, but
lovely.
it's going to be a fast round as such. So here
Oh
we
yeah, because I
go.
will
We've,
waffle,
we've
Chris.
got 10. No, you don't. You can waffle along as much as you might, love. I don't mind. Right. It is to start with ice cream or sweeties in the interval of a panto.
Oh, ice cream every time.
Oh, good choice. Would you buy a flashing light for a panto or a program more?
Our program.
Yeah, see, everyone says this every time. Someone's going to say flashing lights one day. Christmas Eve shows or Boxing Day shows?
But you know what? They're both fantastic.
Mm,
They're both fantastic for different reasons. Um, oh, I think is I like all the shows. Like there's not one show where I go, I'm not enjoying this. So, oh, do you know what? I'm gonna say Christmas Eve, and I'm gonna say for why because I feel like it's slightly controversial to say one over the other. Christmas Eve, just because the cast are excited as well because we're going home the next day for Christmas Day. No, we're not
mm.
excited to go home and leave theatre. We're excited because it's Christmas Day tomorrow. The audience are buzzed because it's Christmas Day. And then Boxing Day is a completely different day as well in itself. Everyone's had Christmas; they're full of turkey. But Christmas, I'll go Christmas Eve, but
Yeah.
only just.
Okay, fair enough. This one might depend on which side your dressing room is. Stage
Yeah.
left or stage right?
Oh, hang on. Right, I've got to think now here. Which side do I normally come on from? It's usually the goodies. Which side is the goodies side? I'm having a blank here. I should know
Right.
that. Right, yeah, it's got to be stage right then, isn't
There you go.
it? Because that's the side I always come on from. My mind completely blanked then. Yeah, stage right.
Yeah, but see,
Even though my dressing room on stage
the
left.
annoying thing in Wellingborough is all the dressing rooms are on stage left, so it's always a walk round every time. So I love a stage left entrance. It's easier, but as you say, it never
Yeah.
happens. Goodies or baddies?
Oh, goodies. It's got
Yeah,
to be the goodies.
fair enough. Which is better, Act One in a panto or Act Two in a panto?
Oh, um, I suppose I think it probably depends on which paint you're doing. I mean, it's normally you have all the business in Act One, then you finish up the story in Act Two. But at the Hazlitt, there's just so much going on in both acts. Um, I think it depends on the panto, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest. I mean, I liked Act Two in Peter Pan because I got to open it with that fabulous number as we spoke about. But then equally, I like Act One because of the Dame's opening speech. So pushed, actually, I say Act One because I really enjoy the Dame's opening speech.
There
Yeah,
you
so
go.
Act.
Loud audiences or quiet audiences?
Oh, loud, be loud,
Yeah, yeah,
come in and make
definitely.
some noise.
Which one's better, a 10 a.m. show or a 6 p.m. show?
Um, I'll go with I prefer a 6 p.m. show, but that is purely because of the get a lay in.
Fair enough. We've said many a times before, who wants to be belting at 10 o'clock in the morning? Let's be honest. Tea or coffee?
Neither. I can't stand either of them.
Oh my goodness, that's the
I don't
first time
drink tea and I
anyone
don't
said
drink coffee.
neither.
I don't drink hot drinks. I'm very much destroy the British stereotype with that. I can't stand either of them. I've not drunk tea ever. I've only ever done soft drinks or cold drinks. I don't like hot drinks. I might have a hot chocolate Starbucks once in a blue moon, but no, neither of them.
Yeah, see, I'm the same as that. I only have a hot chocolate every so often. That's why it's a rarity day today. And then last one is Cinderella or Peter Pan.
Um,
For obvious reasons, I've done that.
yeah, I know, yeah. Um, do you know what? I'm going to go with Peter Pan, um, just because I really enjoyed Cinderella, but I think deep down I prefer being a goodie. I think that's the reason. Like I love being an ugly sister as well,
Yeah,
but I do like being a goodie. So
yeah.
it's go like there's none that I'm really like, oh, I really prefer this. But if pushed, I'll have to say Peter Pan because we
Fair
had a
enough.
lot of fun.
Yeah,
And actually, Panto wise, I think I like Peter Pan more than Cinderella as well, just as a generic Panto, not necessarily Hazlitt's versions against each other, but as a Panto, I do like Peter Pan. I think it's great. It's got that magical flying stuff, and when you see the kids going, oh, they're flying. That to me is brilliant. When they're
yeah.
flying for it, you can actually hear the kids go, oh, they're flying. We didn't get to fly, which was annoying. I did ask Martin if I could fly, but he
You know
just said
what,
it was.
Joe? I said exactly the same thing. I said I'll happily dress as a pig and come on the stage, and just for the
Yeah,
joke of a
fine.
pig can fly, I was okay with that. So, but it never happened, alas.
I was like, look, I'll lose some weight as well. If it needs be, I'll lose some weight. You can hoist me up, but no, wasn't having any of it. He was
No.
like, no, it's Wendy and Peter and the kids. And then actually on the tech day, it was kind of a blessing because we lost a whole day of tech to the flying, and all the rest of us basically got an extra day off
Yeah.
because it came 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They came down and went, look, you guys are going to have to go home because it's going to take us all day to do the flying with these people. And we were like, oh, okay, right, I'm off for Nando's then.
Yeah. Joe, we've nearly come to the end of our cup of chat,
Oh,
but I've really enjoyed talking to you. But I've got one more question to ask you before you run
oh yeah.
away. Can you tell me, because we ask everyone this, if you had the choice and the magic wand of the fairy godmothers to choose a panto for yourself to be in,
Oh.
where would it be? What panto would it be? And you can add a celebrity of your choice. They can be alive or they could have passed away. It's up to you.
Oh, that's a tough one. Right. I'd go with Aladdin because it's my favorite panto. I've done Twanky 3 times. Um, so yeah, I would do Aladdin. Um, the celebrities I'd have in it is easy. It'd be the Chuckle Brothers because I think they're absolutely brilliant. I saw them
Wonderful.
live about 8 times, and they are personal heroes of mine. I just think they're brilliant, and they're the reason why I got into a lot of what I do.
Mm.
So it'd be the Chuckle Brothers, hands down. They're just absolutely fantastic. So they would be in it as Wishy and Washy. because I've seen them do that before. So they sort of double up the wishy-washy part and have wishy and washy. And I would be in it as Twanky. What was the other parts of the question? Sorry.
Where would it be? Where's your dream theatre to be?
Where would it be? I mean, obviously the Hazlitt is fantastic.
Good answer.
We're gonna go Dream. A lot of people say the Palladium, but I'm gonna throw out, and I'm gonna say my childhood theatre, the Westcliff Theatre in Clacton. I've done a Dame show there now. I did my Spooktacular there last year, and it was great. But it's a lovely theatre. It's about 600 seater. It's a very old school theatre. It's all run by volunteers. It's run for the love of theatre, and it's my childhood theatre. It's where I grew up. Funnily enough, I'm there tonight helping out with the local Amdram there because I just love it so much. I've even got a seat in there with my name on. I got it for my 18th birthday because I had my 18th birthday party in the foyer bar there. So it'd be the Westcliff Theatre in Clacton. That's my dream theatre. I'd love to do a Panto there because they normally do a Christmas show there as opposed to a Panto, and then the Princes do a Panto, which is the other theatre in Clacton. But yeah, it would be the Westcliff Theatre. It would be Aladdin. I'd be Widow Twanky, and the Chocolate Brothers would be Wishy and Washy.
Look at that. We've got it. Thank you so much, Joe. Before you just go, tell us very quickly, where can we find you this Christmas?
You can find me at the Hazlitt Theatre this Christmas in Dick Whittington as Sherry Trifle, Dame Sherry Trifle. We run from the, I don't want to get this wrong, we run from the 29th of November through to the 31st of December. Tickets are available now, though we're over 50% sold already, so you need to get your tickets in quick. But it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today on CUPPA Chat. And you can learn more about all the listings that are coming up this Christmas on the Panto archive now, including that one from the Hazlitt. And we'll keep you up to date with everything that Joe's up to via his social medias as well, with all your other shows. Thank you, Joe, once again.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you next time for some more CUPPA Chat.